The rumors are heating up in Milwaukee as free agency continues. We wait to see who will join the Milwaukee Bucks in that final roster spot, but it might not be who we think. I'm Jake Finnerty, and welcome on into Bucks Digest. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to keep it locked on all things Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the guy that we've been pinpointed towards for a while, it may seem like we might have to pivot off of him for a bit if we want to move forward in this free agency process, and that's Gary Trent Jr. One, I'll start off by saying, in my last video on Gary Trent, have no clue why I kept calling him a stretch big. That is not true at all. I think I just had the phrase in my mind and kept repeating it because I was referring to a guy like Paul Reed, so I want to start off and say I'm sorry about that, but Gary Trent himself is still on the market, floating around with a lot of teams. It was narrowed down to Denver, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and New York, as in the Knicks. Now, we'll start off with some good news about Gary Trent, and that's the fact that it looks like he's not going to Denver. He doesn't want us to play in Denver. He doesn't want that low minimum contract that they would be offering him, which is a good sign for Milwaukee. Getting Trent in, like we said, a very high efficiency shooter and definitely a good solid wing to have on the team. However, this comes with some bad news because it's looking like Gary Trent has kind of made up his mind on where he wants to go, and it's not Milwaukee. It's another team in the East that just keeps getting better, and it's Philadelphia. The 76ers are currently the front runners for Gary Trent Jr. It seems like the two sides have been in contact. Obviously, you see later in this tweet, the Knicks and the Nuggets have shown a lot of interest in Gary Trent, with the Nuggets now being out of this mix. So really, truthfully, it might just be down to New York and Philly at this point. This is a big loss for Milwaukee because it kind of points the finger of where are we pivoting to now? We needed a guy that was going to be a top scorer, or a high efficiency scorer, I should say, especially with a three ball, a guy that could play the wing role, high energy, no matter what role he's playing, whether it be in a starting role, in the starting five, or even coming off the bench, trying to be that electric power for you. And now it seems like we might have seen where the Bucks are already trying to pivot. And ironically, it's not starting in the organization, it's starting where all things usually start, and that's on social media, because recently today, it was spotted that Lonnie Walker followed Marjan Beauchamp and AJ Johnson both on Instagram. So it's a very high possibility that Lonnie Walker is in contact with these guys, especially these are young guys on a Milwaukee Bucks roster right now that could potentially bring in a guy like Lonnie Walker, who's a little bit of a veteran. He's been around. He's been to the Lakers. He was most recently on the Nets. And truthfully, he fits the mold of what we were just talking about perfectly. An electric guy to come off the bench. You're losing a little bit of that height compared to Trent as Lonnie Walker comes in at 6'4", but a solid shooting guard, 25 years old. He's shooting 45% on corner threes, and he has a 38% efficiency on shots from beyond the arc anyway. He's going to give you around 10 points a game as well, but truthfully, this is exactly what we were talking about. A high-energy guy that can come into the organization and provide a little bit of scoring. I think he'd be perfect to put into this starting lineup, pairing him with Dame, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and as of right now, Brook Lopez, but I think he also could be another guy to come off the bench and complement Portis, the recently added Taurean Prince, and definitely Dalen Wright, who can play make, and he can be a lot of the scoring option when going to that second unit. I think Walker fits in really well as a stretchable guy, and stretchable in the fact of he can be plug and play. You can put him wherever you need him, especially on that wing guard spot. And truthfully, he's going to get it done. He might not have that defensive efficiency that the Bucks are really looking for this offseason, but you got that with Dalen Wright. You still have Patrick Beverley potentially on the market, and if you make a trade with Brook Lopez, there might be another roster spot opening up to try and bring Beverly back. This is a team that was really, really down in bench scoring last year. They were in the bottom half of the league. I'm pretty sure they were 20th in bench scoring points last year. Lonnie Walker may be a key to getting that bench scoring up. So can we see him in this Milwaukee Bucks uniform soon? Now, another option for this final roster spot is kind of waiting until this summer league period also goes towards the closing, saving this roster spot for a guy on the summer league team, I should say, that can potentially bring a lot of energy, a lot of power to this offense, to this team. And while I don't necessarily agree with that, I think Walker is a safe pick, a guy you could potentially get on a cheap contract, especially the way that Gary Trent was looking at his as well. A 1-year deal, trying to get himself readjusted to the market to try and get a longer deal. Lonnie Walker might be the final key, and let's put that graphic back up because my God, does he look good in green. Let's get Lonnie Walker to the Milwaukee Bucks. If you want to see Lonnie Walker, or if you have anyone else you think will fit this team perfectly in free agency right now, leave it down in the comments and stick here on Bucks Digest.